Okay. I am going to co-host here because this waiting room is
Yeah.
keep going, I think. All right. Got a little extra support here. All right, let me get to my notes here. Welcome in. Good morning to you. If you're new to me, I'm Coach Emily B. If you're not new to me, welcome back. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're here to start your Monday. Today, we are going to be talking about why we tend to assume the worst and how to stop doing that. So I'm assuming if you're here because you're somebody who tends to assume the worst, at least from time to time. And I want you to know that's normal. That's something we do. We're wanting to protect ourselves. Do you notice for yourself how fast your brain can turn uncertainty into a whole disaster? One moment in time can pass where you're not sure what something just meant. And if we don't get clarification, we start to spin. I know what that means. Oh, or maybe it's this. You know what? I bet it's this. I'm going to call my friend and see what she thinks. I'm going to tell her all about it and I'm going to get her to agree with me. Now we're bonding over misery and we don't even know what's really going on. We're making assumptions. So maybe someone doesn't text you back. Or maybe you're in a meeting and it feels a little off. Or someone next to you gives you a look you haven't seen before. Or maybe you have a meeting and it's canceled last moment. Within minutes, we start building a story around that. Something's wrong. They're upset. I must have messed up. I'm probably failing. What am I about to lose here? When we get caught in habits like that, it is emotionally exhausting. It might feel and be so believable that if you keep your thought energy there, you'll find a solution. When we are worrying, what did that mean? Oh no, I know what that meant. You know what? Actually, no, she probably was just stressed, or you know what? She was probably tired. If we keep replaying over and over and over like that, number one, we're exhausting ourselves. But number two, doesn't it feel like if you just push a little further, you'll figure it out? Then you'll feel better. Then you can solve it. Then you can make it right again. But what happens when we do that is we weave a story around the fact and we get so far away from the fact of the situation. And now we are having a whole experience that never even happened. We've created a scene in our mind and we're reacting to it in our body. Our thinking fuels our feeling. So if I'm thinking someone's ignoring me, that's going to feel hurtful. And I'm going to act my whole day through a hurtful lens, not even on purpose, but because that's going to dominate my mental space. Let's assume you're in a meeting and it just feels off. Where do we take that? How likely are you to say, it's all right. That's all right. Let's just get on with the day. Don't think about that. Versus keep thinking about it. Who are you? Are you the person who keeps thinking about it? Or are you the person who says, I don't know, something was off, but no big deal? Who does this become a big deal for? Anybody? Or are you okay with knowing this is a little off? Whatever. Or maybe you think, you know what? I'm not going to make a big deal of this. So that was a little off. That's okay. And then you go about your day and you're doing your thing. You're like, but why was that? No, that's okay. Back into your day. But what if? No, that wasn't it. But it could have been. This is what I'm talking about. When things keep coming back and we keep looping through the same thoughts, we're not getting anywhere and it feels productive. When we are preparing for pain, it feels a lot less vulnerable than waiting for information. So instead of just waiting to see what did that mean, next time I see them, I'm going to ask, we prepare for the worst. And now it's almost like can't get me. I already was ready for this. And now we feel less vulnerable. Whereas if you just go on your day knowing that was a little off and eventually the truth will come to me, now you're waiting to find out, and that doesn't feel good. We don't love that. So we'd rather assume we know what that meant, make a conclusion in our mind, and act accordingly. In other words, when we are assuming the worst, we're looking to create certainty. If I ask you this question while you're neutral, in your logical thinking, not in your emotions, are already in assumption, how much certainty do assumptions provide? Right? Think about that. When we're worrying, when we're just reeling through all of the thoughts, we are assuming. We're taking guesses because we're not in front of the person to say, is this what that meant? Or when you didn't text me back, what do you want me to do with that? Right? I'm over here making a story and I just want to know, what does this mean? When we don't get clarity, we are assuming. And we feel good about that. When we come to the assumption that's most plausible, we'll take it as truth and as a conclusion, and then we move on with our day. So I ask again, what do we know in general about assumptions?
They're not right.
Are they true? No. Right. So if we know that we're wanting to fall onto a truth and it's not really true, why not let ourselves know something that's supportive? You know what? I'm not sure what that meant. So we're going to stop thinking about it for now. Or if you need to know what this meant, let's get some clarity. Let's stop assuming. Let's stop spending energy there. Maureen.
Well, you know, assume stands for ask you or me. So I try to stay out of assuming because I don't know what someone else is dealing with. And by the way, they don't know what I'm dealing with. And sometimes the reaction is what more I'm dealing with than the situation or what they said.
Yeah.
So I try to stay out of the doghouse and just give people grace. And if they're going to be grumpy boots or whatever, maybe they just found out a bad medical diagnosis. Maybe they just had a speeding ticket. I don't know what's going on with their world, and I'm not going to bore them with all mine. So I just try to remember that. I'm not a mind reader. I'm not a psychic. Just, do the best that I can with whoever, whenever. Thank you.
Yes. And I think asking ourselves too, am I available for clarification? Am I open to conversation? If those are yeses for me, it's a lot easier for me to let go of assumption, right? If I know I'm open to conversation, if anyone needs clarification, I now feel less vulnerable. If I feel like I have to be prepared or come up with something or perform in some way, that feels very vulnerable, right? So I think when we find ourselves in emotional exhaustion because we are assuming the worst or trying to figure out what did that mean? That didn't feel good. Get back to being you. Get back to who you know you are. Conduct life as normal. Are you open? Are you available for clarification? Are you willing to have conversation? The more primitive part of our brain says, for sure, we need to be thinking about what might happen or else, right? It's protective. Let's make sure nobody's upset. Let's make sure you still fit in. Let's make sure you're still part of the group. We don't even know what the or else is. What would that mean if we don't fit in with somebody anymore? What would it mean if we decide we do have a different belief system than somebody else? Wouldn't it be good to know that? There's discomfort that moves us, and that's knowing truth, right? So if I find out that Susan and I don't align, I'd rather know the truth of that than try to keep cramming the untruth into my reality, right? And as soon as I know the truth of that, then I can be respectful of it. When we have respect and general understanding of what each other needs, it's easier to stop overanalyzing everything. It's easier to stop emotionally rehearsing every conversation or every interaction. It's easier to stop seeking reassurance. Is she mad at me? Did you hear that? It was okay, right? It's easier to stop catastrophizing. She didn't text me back. She's mad. It's easier to treat fear like a fact. This is happening, and I'm in the moment with it. I'm making assumptions. I'm not wanting to ask questions, I'm wanting this to be a one-person conversation. That creates exhaustion. Your body reacts to imagined danger the same way it reacts to real danger. So you end up living in stress that has not even happened yet. How many of you in this room, I'm just curious, are worried or your mind is elsewhere in the future trying to solve something, trying to figure something out? If you could just know this one piece, then you'd take a step forward, or then you could exhale, or then it will be a good week or a good day. Anybody in a moment other than this moment right here, solving something right now? Trying to solve something right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. At 8:28 a.m. Eastern, we cannot be solving noon. We cannot be solving Friday. We cannot be solving July. We can't be solving that wedding in September. We can't. We can be solving 8:28 a.m. Eastern on Monday, May 25th. What's your action right now? Elisa.
Very helpful because I have all of a sudden a pop-up meeting with a manager on Thursday, and, and she scheduled it for every 3 weeks. And I'm thinking, oh boy, what did I do that I need to be managed and have yet another meeting scheduled by yet another manager every 3 weeks? So my mind is going to all kinds of places, like am I on probation, like crazy
Yeah.
stuff.
Imagine these two questions. So you're asking, oh, what did I do wrong? What if we were to ask, how did I deserve this? What did I do to deserve this? Or how did I earn this time with her? What happens to the feeling? Even if right now you're laughing behind the scenes, like, I don't deserve any of that. What would it be like to flip the thinking from what did I do to, well, how do I rate that every 3 weeks I get some of her time one-on-one to connect? Are you there, Lisa?
Yeah, it's only that's a very good and very valid because it's only 15 minutes. So she can't get into too much of my, the weeds on what I'm working on. But
Huh?
I will say that, yeah, I am important enough in the department that she knows I'm handling a lot and that she wants to make sure that there's no bumps. So I'm gonna, I'll just check in with her a little bit more often. So yeah, and that also avoids me having a little anxiety panic attack about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm worth her checking in with, right? And even if you go into each meeting every 3 weeks with, thank you for setting this time aside for me, that shifts the mood of the entire room right from the jump.
Mhm.
It's no longer am I looking for what did I do? I'm like, wow, I'm so honored to be here with you. I have questions. You might have questions. We don't have distraction of other people. We have 15 minutes. And I know this comes again in 3 weeks.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I needed, this topic. Thank you.
I love when things land like that. You all, not every uncomfortable feeling is a warning sign. Not every moment of discomfort we feel is a call for help. Sometimes it's just uncertainty and we're looking for an answer. Sometimes it feels like we don't have control, which might very well be the case. And ask yourself, do I need the control right here? Or am I just in a moment that I don't have it? And that might be okay. Emotional conditioning. If we're in a situation and you think you need to make everybody feel happy or feel comfortable, you don't. You don't. That's going to feel uncomfortable thinking you need to solve for everybody else's discomfort. You can't. Everybody has to solve for their own discomfort. Old fear can come in. We can be waiting for the other shoe to drop and not really think we should hold on to the joy or the happiness or the success that we feel or the confidence. And past experiences can say, don't do that. Or the last time someone didn't text you back, or the last time someone was quiet in a meeting, you know what happened. And that's coming in to protect you. It's like, hey, do you remember this? Watch out for that up ahead. You do not need to believe every thought that your nervous system offers your brain. You don't. You don't. You get to observe the situation and then re educate the nervous system. restore new thinking, update the manual. When these habit thoughts come out and say, when someone doesn't text you back, it means they're mad at you, correct that. When someone doesn't text me back, that could mean a whole bunch of things, and I'm not going to draw a conclusion until I've spoken to the person. End of story. And anytime your brain wants to wander back to, yeah, but now it's been 2 hours. And people can be busy for days. Until we know what's going on, we are not making a conclusion. If you have urgency for a conclusion, let's step into vulnerability and get clarity. Let's start asking questions, right? Choose a discomfort that's going to move you forward. So instead of staying in the misery of the unknown, take yourself to the misery of the uncomfortable. What did you mean when you said that? When you don't text me back, I make that mean this. Is that true? Is there a better way to connect with you? These are all questions that those answers help you. Why isn't she messaging me back? Not helpful. Not helpful, and not really our business. What is our business is what's the best way to communicate with you. Practical questions we can ask. When we are in an emotional reaction, practicality is usually like down the road at the park and we can't find it. Here's questions to ask when you know you are in an emotionally charged moment. What facts do I actually have right now? In coaching you all, a fact is something that is neutral and something that 100 out of 100 people would agree. You do not need to convince them at all. An example, it is raining out my window right now. If I turn my camera so you can see it, I don't have to do any talking. You just look and you say true or not true. You all would say true if you saw it. So now we have a fact. If I say it's raining and that's gloomy, now I don't have a fact. Now I have a fact and my opinion about it. So what facts do I actually have right now? And then what story am I adding? This rain means I'm not going to be able to go outside. I'm probably going to be sleepy. I really was wishing for sun. The goats are probably miserable. That's all story. And that's adding emotional exhaustion to what already feels uncomfortable. Okay. What would change if you stopped trying to predict pain? Pain is inevitable, you all. We're not going to dodge pain. Suffering is optional. We don't have to suffer, and we suffer when we add emotional pain on top of what's actually painful, rather than just supporting ourselves. You're in a painful moment. You're unsure right now. You're grieving something, or this is old fear kind of rocking your boat right now. Staying with yourself. Who would you be if you weren't constantly rehearsing emotions? Who would you be? If you go back to if someone didn't text you back, if we stayed in the factual information of that and we stayed out of the emotional rehearsal, this feels this way and this is why she's doing it and it's her fault and when will this stop? If we stay out of that, now what are we doing with that time and energy? Who are you? Leah.
I'm a more secure me.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. You all, do you know that the most inner, most original, most, what's the word I want? Like you haven't been subjected to society yet. That version of you is the easiest version of you to be. If you get rid of the social story that says, no, she first has to be this size and she has to have this color hair and she has to be on time and at least this many people need to like her and she needs to be invited to these things and she needs to know what to talk about in any social situation. That's what makes it difficult for us to be ourselves. We come up with all these rules based on what we're seeing and this desire to fit in, and we create misery for ourselves. We create an existence that we're not meant to live. Your brain is designed to scan for danger And that's the first thing it's looking for. When you walk in a room, first thing, do I know anybody who's here? Where do I sit? What feels the best? How many of you will go into a room and you want to be seated so that you can see the door? You don't want your back to the door. Uh-huh. I see you, Joanne. Yeah, who's coming in? Nobody's sneaking up on me. Yeah. This makes me think too, how many of you will go into a store and if you maybe see there's someone you know, do we try to say hi or do we try to avoid? Didn't see you. You're kidding. You were there? Oh, I wish I'd seen. Yeah, what are we avoiding? I've done this before with, I hope she's not watching. We went to a snack bar. This was last summer. My husband was all excited to try the snack bar. I'm like, yeah, this will be great. Da, 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 da. We pull in. I was like, stop, turn around. No, thank you. It's like, why? What just happened? I said, Amy's here. He's like your best friend, Amy? I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do this. You don't want to go say hi? I'm like, absolutely not. So we're leaving? I'm like, yes, we are leaving. Yes. Amy that was just here the other day exercising with you? That's the one. Why? Because I don't want to have the conversation. I'm not prepped for that. I'm not ready for that. I don't want to talk about why am I at a snack bar? Aren't you losing weight? Aren't you? All these thoughts went through my head because I wasn't prepared. None of it true. None of it true in the way I played it out in my head. So I avoided a situation that I created in my mind, and it probably would have gone totally different had I not tried to control who needs to be there. What do I need to do to be ready? If you repeatedly practiced worst case thinking, your brain strengthens its ability to be in worst case thinking. It's always going to be looking for the threat, the what if, the watch out, the I wouldn't. But the opposite is also true. So the more we look for what's to gain here, what's the experience here, what's the opportunity here, we train the brain to look for meaning. That pause changes the relationship, the work that we're doing, the parenting that we're in, the decision-making that we do. It changes our emotional steadiness when we stop and allow ourselves to really take note of what am I making this mean? A circumstance itself does nothing to you. The story you create around it is everything. Leah. Do you mean to have your hand up?
No, but
Oh.
I was actually thinking about that too. It's, when you start playing the whole negative, I don't know the script, you script yourself with everything that's going on around you that could become negative, or maybe it's going in a negative direction. You just get totally overwhelmed. I mean, I do. And everything is wrong. There is not just one thing wrong. Everything. The whole world is wrong. You're wrong with everything you did. Everything just goes haywire. And I'm actually living in that right now. And it's interesting that I stopped myself mid yesterday. I said, wait a second. I can't force things because of my fear. I can't force things to happen because of my fear that something else might happen because of it. I need to let life play itself out, and other people's lives, they have a right to do what they want to do with their lives. I may not always like it, but I think being there and just not making the other person crazy because of their choices is sometimes the best place to be.
Exactly. Staying grounded in our own choices. And I think it's people, when people get involved in our choices, I do think initially it's let me support you. Let me be part of this decision-making process. I know you, you know you, but then it can become comparison. Wait, why is that different than what I suggested? Or why is that different than what I'm doing? Or why is that different than what
Or,
the whole family's doing?
or why does the person think they know what I need better than I do?
Yeah.
Because that's where I'm at. I'm dealing with someone, which, I'm not 100% okay with what,
Yeah.
with the supports they are looking at, and they want me to fund it. But I don't need to be 100% in support of what they're doing. I just need to be supportive. Uh, but, I just need to work on that.
Or maybe just understand that that's their decision and that works for them. It's not how I would do it, but it is how they're choosing to do it. I think letting adults be adults is challenging. It's challenging, especially if you have another idea or a different way or a different opinion. Every adult gets to make their own decisions, and that is tough when you're with somebody who I would decide different, and that can create conflict. Under any circumstance, if we have two opposing thoughts under one circumstance, there's conflict unless there's respect. You can have your opinion and I can have mine, and both are okay under the same circumstance. So it's raining. You can think that's amazing. I can think that's horrible. And we can respect that we have different opinions of the same thing happening because we have different brains. We have different perspectives. We have different experience with the rain. Can we appreciate different experiences that lead to different results? Can we appreciate that rain can mean 100 different things? Can that be beautiful and amazing instead of topic for conflict, topic for argument, topic for disagreement? Yes, agree to disagree, agree to have more than one opinion. Maureen.
I was going to say on that texting deal, because I used to work at the phone factory, towers, copper lines, they can only carry so much traffic. And I thought a sibling did not respond to me. But then I asked them when I saw them in person, why didn't you respond to that text? And they show me the device. They go, what text? It was not delivered, which was a lesson for me. I have to factor in all variables before on a situation, how I'm evaluating it, right? It was a network hiccup. And now I've told myself, you know what? If I really need to talk to them, pick up the phone. If they don't respond to my text, if it's important, then pick up the phone. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Taking responsibility. That's what that is. It's like, this is important. And before my brain spirals off over into an emotional story, is there anything else I can do here? Anything else I can strategize before I make a conclusion about this? A lot of conclusions that are made while we are in a heightened emotion are not factual. They just feel real. This reminds me of, I'm in one-on-one coaching and someone will tell me something and I'll have a neutral reaction and they repeat it a little louder, with a little more force. What do you think they're trying to do? Aren't you hearing the truth? Aren't you hearing what I'm telling you? Right? No, I'm hearing your words and I'm seeing your emotional experience of your words. That's not my experience. So I'm going to stay neutral and I'm going to hear your words. And the more I can repeat your words back to you, the easier it becomes for you to see what's true and what am I creating around the truth. Right? We cling to our stories the same way we can look out the window and say, yep, it's raining. And we believe them to be just as factual because they feel that way. All right. I put the practical questions in the chat for you. And I'll do it again in case you've joined, or I know that the chat has scrolled quite a bit. I would encourage you to screenshot these or take a picture so that the next time you are in an emotional spiral, the next time you're wanting to assume that somebody is being a certain way with you or something for sure is happening, ask yourself these 4 questions. Especially number 1, what facts do I actually have right now? And this may mean you write it down because, like I said, it's all going to feel true. right? Like, didn't you hear me? This is what happened. Yep. And now go back through all of it. How many of these sentences could I say to somebody else without any other evidence? And they would say, I agree. That is true. She should call back after you call her. Fact or opinion, right? That it's so helpful to do that. Okay, and then I have a quote for you. And I also just want to share, if you're tired of emotionally spiraling, if you are overthinking a lot, if you're in interactions, but you don't stay present in the interaction because you've already fast forwarded to problem solving of where you think they're going, if you're tired of carrying stress for things that have not happened yet, come back again next Monday, every Monday, 8:15. Let's lower the emotional exhaustion, get your feet back on the ground, realize what steps you're taking, where your control is. We do not need to manage other people's emotions, reactions, behavior, none of it. We just have to stay in our own growth. The quote, fear does not stop death, it stops life. And worrying does not take away tomorrow's troubles. It takes away today's peace. I appreciate you all being here. If you have any questions, I'm going to hang back for just a moment, but otherwise, you're off. You're ready to go. Enjoy your Monday. Make good choices for yourself. Elisa, come on in.
Hi, Coach. Excuse me. If people are not members of Birch and Stone, where would they find information on how membership and things like that? Do you want to just touch upon that?
I can. Yes, I can. So if you're here and you're not a member, you can go to birchandstonecoaching.com. There's links all over the place there for 2 different types of memberships that we have, or one-on-one, or maybe you're in the membership and you want more conversation like this, but specifically about you. Try one of the 30-minute one-on-one calls. Pick any coach and just give yourself 30 minutes and see, what is that like to be alone with the conversation, but it's only about my life. And I don't have to generalize it based on whatever's being talked about. Give it a try. You're welcome, Christine. And
you won't be sorry, guys. Take
And
it from
Leah.
us.
And Mary and Joanne and Brenda and Tracy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great Monday, and I'll be back again next week.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye.